Hello, in this video, we're going to be covering the top lessons we've learned by interviewing the top performing Medspas in our portfolio of clients. And these lessons pertain their sales process, respectively, how they're able to generate high ticket patients, high ticket packages out of the appointments that we book for them, introductory new patient intros. And we're talking about body contouring, weight loss packages, facial aesthetics, fillers, injectables, microneedling, lasers, just as well as laser hair removal, and anything else, you name it. And so this is how the top 1% US med spas sell high-ticket treatment packages and are able to rake in 100K per month and more, with profit margins between 20-30% and even more. And so we're going to dive into those details in a second. But basically, who are we? We are Medspa patients. We are working with 60 clients, just shy of, and we've generated hundreds, if not thousands, of qualified appointments this year alone. And we have generated a multiple of 3x return on ad spend. So the revenue generated for our clients' advertising efforts. Okay. Now let's dive right in. And so the problem is that when it comes to introductory offers, when it comes to offering on Facebook, on Instagram, we like to run with introductories such as $99 deals, $129, $149, $199 even. We always try to keep it below $200. We're always basically looking at the cost to generate a lead and the cost to generate a booked appointment. And we find a point where it tapers off, beyond which it doesn't make sense to increase that price further, right? Now, the problem with that is that a lot of Medspa owners think that these introductory offers attract people who are bargain hunters, okay? They think that these are people who just want discounts, they're tire kickers, window shoppers, and they're only there for a discount, for a good deal. And no matter what you tell them, they won't upsell, they won't buy a higher ticket package. And whilst that may be true to a certain extent, the problem with this black and white thinking is that it fails to realize that this is only true and applicable to a small subset of the people who get attracted to these deals. A lot of times we hear Medspas comparing these deals to Groupon deals as well, which again is nothing further from the truth. And the reason for that is because when people are on Groupon, they're there because they want to look for a discount. Whereas on Facebook, they're accepting it because they're seeing it. And as you will see later on in this presentation, even rich, affluent people like a discount. Now, here's the misconception. The conclusion that Medspa owners jump to is that the offer needs to be changed. So go away from these $99 introductories to high ticket $1,500 on the front end. And so what they do is they attempt, or they want to advertise that and to sell it as a high ticket package on the front end in ads. This is a less desirable offer. There's fewer people in the market who are ready for that kind of offer. And so the outcome when you're trying to promote packages right out the gate is that it's generating an extremely high cost per lead and an extremely high cost of acquisition, the cost to generate one booked appointment with deposit collected, right? We're talking about deposits because these are the leads that actually have skin in the game and they actually show up to the appointments. And this is basically when you're seeing a normal $5, $10, $15 cost per qualified lead shoot up to something ridiculous like $40, $50 or even higher. And it's just absolute nightmare to try and book these people in. And so let's do a quick digression here and discuss the McDonald's model, right? McDonald's model introduced the famous "Would you like some fries" with that line in 1994 or something like that. And basically that line single-handedly increased their revenue by 40%. And the reason for that is basically that all shops, McDonald's, coffee shops, car dealerships, car shops, repair shops, they all utilize this concept of a hook, of a introductory offer. It's called a tripwire offer, which is meant to get people in through the door. Why? Because there is no substitute for someone who's already come in, made the effort to come to you, and they are invested now, for you to actually now be able to sell to them in a completely different environment, in a way where you would never be able to sell over the phone. This is when they come in, they come to meet your clinicians, your treatment providers. They see the vibe of the place. They have a good feeling about it. They realize that it's even a legit space, especially when you're advertising on social media to people who've never seen you or heard of you before. We are dealing with that objection a lot over the phone. And all of our funnels, all of our ads are optimized to combat that, to show people a Google review, to show people Google My Business, your location on the map, real testimonials, case studies, the actual location. Yet none of these will ever substitute for the real life location, okay? And so just so you understand, this concept is everywhere in all industries. It's utilized with great success. And if other industries can crush it, then so can you. And again, you can always go on Facebook ads library and look at what your competitors are running. You can look at the entire space. Everywhere, everyone is running these introductories. So if they're making it work, then the real problem is not the offer. The problem is that you don't actually discover the problem. You don't educate the customer. You don't make them aware of other treatments, and you don't make investing in a package a no-brainer. And so ultimately, these are all sales constraints. This is what a good sales process looks like, in a way where essentially we have someone coming in through the door because they obviously have a problem that they want to resolve. That problem needs to be expanded upon. It needs to be discovered thoroughly. That's what we mean by that. Once the problem is clear before our eyes, we need to educate that prospect. We need to tell them how to get from A to B. And so in a way where we are not being coachy. That is the caveat there. And we'll explain that in a second. You don't make them aware of the other treatments is basically a failed opportunity to cross-sell them into other things. Someone who's coming in for a lip flip, for example, is probably going to want a filler as well if they are presented with the idea. You're the expert, ultimately. They're there in your hands looking for guidance and leadership. And if you can see that they've come in for microneedling on their face, for example, and you coach them and educate them that microneedling on their face is ultimately going to leave them with a problem on their neck, where there's going to be a discontinuity between the face and neck, then clearly they're going to want to go for that as well, right? So that's what we mean by making them aware of other treatments and other auxiliary complementary services. And when it comes to making the investing in a package a no-brainer, that's ultimately about your pricing mechanisms, your technique, and how to close. And I'll get to that in a second. It's an absolute power tool. Super important to utilize and to add to your arsenal. Okay. Now, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. The truth is that even affluent people like a discount. Even affluent people presented with the opportunity to save some money are going to leap at it. And actually, that is the key with the success of this campaign. With a campaign that's set up with introductory offers, the key is to advertise it to people who can afford high ticket services, or to make it such that they can afford it to be interpreted as finance. Of course, you should have finance providers in place, because if they cannot afford it with a down payment, then it's self-explanatory that if they are being sold to, and if they are made to understand that this is ultimately the solution that they've been looking for, they're still going to buy it if they can split it out over a number of years, 2, 3, 4 years. Some finance providers can actually enable. Okay, and so what is the objection to this? Medspa owners think that they are already doing all of these things. They think they're doing these 4 things. They think everything is going well. It's just the leads are weak. The appointments, the patients are bad, right? And the thing with that is that I don't blame them, because I did too, until I knew what good looked like, right? Until we knew how to collect deposits. This is something that we're doing in-house when we're booking appointments for our Medspa clients. I thought that some of these people that we're attracting on the phone with ads, they're just too broke, too unqualified, and we cannot collect deposits. And after learning sales, after learning thorough and proper appointment setting, I realized that it was more a sales process issue. And so because of that, again, I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm telling you to study the market, to spy your competitors, and to see what they're at running on Facebook. You can go on the ads library right now, and you can see all of the ads in the market. And you're going to see that these 99, 149, 199, they're making the bulk of advertising online, and for good reason. So if you know anyone who promotes high ticket with ads successfully, anyone who's selling a 2K, 5K Morpheus or EMM sculpts off of ads directly, and they're turning a good return on that spend, and I want to talk to you, so please reach out to me. I will pay you to have a conversation with me so that I can see everything that these guys are doing. Because if you do that, then I promise here that I will do it entirely for free. Not only that, I will pay you to let me retrofit that person's entire campaign. I'll hack their funnels, their ads, their landers, their backend, the whole thing end to end, and I'll give it to you on a silver platter for free. That's how convinced I am that this just does not exist. Okay? And so another personal example is that we do work for free for clients a lot, performance deals. And when we do, those become high ticket clients. Why? Because we excite them and then we delight them, and we give them a chance to see that we're real people with good results, with good skill sets. And that is required in saturated markets and highly competitive markets. Ours is a competitive market. There's tons of agencies working with med spas. Yours is a competitive market. There's tons of med spa competitors of yours, right? And you need to give a little to get a lot. Okay. And so if you want to take a quick sanity check on all of this stuff, you should know your metrics, know what your cost per lead is right now. If you're not getting leads, then you have a problem in the first place. And if you're getting leads and they're very expensive, then it goes without saying the offer is not attractive enough, right? Now, bear in mind, once someone opted in, no matter what that introductory offer is, 99, 49, even $5, those people have a problem, right? They don't part ways with their money unless they actually have a problem. Therefore, the offer, the ad did its job. It's gotten you a lead. And so if others do it, if other competitors of yours and our top clients are even able to upsell everyone. So you're think about someone whose car is falling apart in the parking lot outside the med spa. These are the kinds of people that some of our top med spas are actually able to upsell on finance. And sometimes they can't physically buy it because their credit score is too bad, right? But even then, there are credit care providers that are actually allowing even those to come through, okay? Now, in our experience, what we see with our top med spas is that the owners actually have prior experience in high pressure sales environments, like they've worked in a mall at some point or they did some sort of door-to-door sales, and that's immediately reflected in their ability to sell in the med spa environment. Because at the end of the day, a lot of med spa owners, and maybe you as well, have been deceived to think that you'll do a good service, you'll have a good product, and that'll be the end of that. But that's not the case. The problem is in the market is the fact that these courses and the people that inspire med spas to start business, they don't actually set realistic expectations to help them understand that most of their business problems are marketing and sales issues. They're not fulfillment issues. The service is quite commoditized, and so it's so crucial to know how to market it and how to sell it properly. All right. So this is how to fix it. Without further ado, bear in mind this tenet. People love to buy things, but they hate to be sold to. Okay. And so in order to understand that, just put yourself in your client's shoes. And so let's follow along their journey. They see an ad for introductory new patient offer. They schedule an appointment. They come in for that $99 new patient special. And that's basically it. This is all that they're expecting. Now, because of that, they hate it when you bait and switch them. If you put them in your chair and you basically slam them with a package sell from the start, they'll feel pushy. And that's exactly why med spa owners are afraid to do sales, because they don't want to feel salesy. That's how you feel salesy. You seem self-interested. The moment you ask them for a package, the moment you propose a package, that's about you and your med spa, not about them. It's not something that's directed towards their best goals, their interest. It's something that you deem a good outcome for your med spa, right? It's a very small, subtle nuance there, and I'll explain it to you with an example in a second. But essentially, those two things are what makes the difference between you feeling consultative, caring and empathetic, or salesy and pushy. And so the three things you need to do in order to fix all of those problems are: one, you need to set the frame clear, set clear expectations. You need to transition properly, and you need to close adequately. I'll dive into all three of these right now. Just so you know, the issue with the reason for the frame, the necessity for the frame, is that there is a dissonance between the agenda of a client and yours. The client is there because they want to get the treatment in and out done. Yours is to upsell them on a high ticket, right? And because you know what's good for them, it should be something that, it should be something where, if you look at it, really, there's two sides of the same coin. You want to sell them because obviously you want to make money, and at the same time, because that is what ultimately will solve their problem permanently. And so that is the need, that is why setting clear expectations is necessary. And I'll show you how to do that right now. Transition is where you, again, consolidate and reinforce that ultimately you have the client's best interest in mind. And then finally, at the close, is when you make them be the one who chooses, with two different techniques, which I'll show you when we get to that. And so for us, us personally, we had to make a shift ourselves in how we collect deposits. The fact that we can even collect deposits in the first place shows that we are able to sell these people, because as long as there's an exchange of money, there's a financial transaction, these people have already voted with a vote of trust, if you will. And the way we changed how we collect deposits is essentially we're setting that frame. At some point during the call, we tell them, we'll give them a heads up. We say, by the way, we are going to require a deposit in order to book you in, because we have very high demand. We're very busy. This is a limited offer. So I just wanted to check with you before we book you in if that's going to be okay. And then they consent. And when they consent, then basically they've been tied down. Okay. It's very different than booking them in, promising them the whole thing, the whole 9 yards, getting to the end of the call, and then out of the blue slamming them with, by the way, we're going to need a deposit. Sounds good? Cool. So that is, again, a tiny change where tiny changes make a huge difference. So let's dive right in. The frame. When we're talking about the frame really happens twice. Once it's before the appointment on the phone, once is during the appointment. So during the phone conversation, when we book them in or when you book them in, basically we will announce that there will be a consult before the treatment, the same way I just mentioned with the deposits. And so this will happen organically in most instances. What do I mean by that? Well, there's all these FAQ, frequently asked questions. How long does it take? How many sessions do I need? How much does it cost afterwards? How does it work? Will it work for me, right? All of these questions, in as much as possible, we stay away from being too coachy and too consultative over the phone. So what we say normally is, when you come in for a treatment, the doctor will offer you a complimentary consultation to make sure that we understand your needs and help you get the best results. Does this sound helpful? So this kind of answers all of those questions. How many sessions do I need? Yes, this depends on the case-by-case basis. When you come in, the doctor will offer a complimentary consult before you go to treatment, okay? And so on and so forth. This makes it about them, not about you. So what does that mean? It's so that you can achieve the best results. It's not so that we can find the best package or treatment plan for you. Even if it says for you, it's we find the best package. No, it's not that. You don't even mention the package yet. It's so we can achieve, so you can achieve the best results. So this is a small nuance, but you want to be able to take that and ask yourself, where else in the sales process are you potentially making it about you instead of about them? Okay. Now, the point of this pre-frame before the appointment is to create awareness that this will happen and also to frame it as beneficial to them. So just so you know, awareness, there will be a consultation, and that is so that you can achieve the best results. Got it? And then you ask them, sounds good. And they say yes, they're convinced, they've committed and agreed with it. That's what you do with a temperature check, with the compliance bit. Does this sound helpful? And you'll see that we have these sprinkled across the entire sales process. Does it sound good? Are you with me? Makes sense. Sounds good? Cool. Great. Now, during the appointment, you're going to be doing this whole thing again. You're going to be framing the consult right at the beginning, and you're going to do it after the report and before asking consultation questions. So they come in, you're giving them a complimentary drink, they sit down, maybe you have like massage chairs. All of that stuff is the report bit. Before they start the proper consultation, you're going to be sitting them down and you're going to frame it again. Okay, so just like I said to you over the phone, the first part of our conversation today is really just to understand where you are right now in terms of your problem. And so you speak about their weight, their skin, their fat loss journey, whatever that may be, what you've tried in the past and where you'd like to be. Based on all of that, if I think we can help, we'll definitely explain a little bit more about what we've got going over here and how that might be able to work for you. Or at the very least, I can point you towards some options to work towards you reiterate the goal as well. Sounds fair? See the temp check again. Does that sound fair? All right. So again, 3 points to this. 1, to achieve compliance. So they'll sit down and they'll know that they're going to be asked a bunch of questions now, so they don't get impatient. There's no surprises, so that they don't feel like this is coming out of the blue. Okay. And also it preempts the objection, which is, yeah, let's jump to it. Give me the treatment. I'm here for the 99. Tell me about the packages. Okay. And so be very careful to not pitch any packages or any solutions before a thorough discovery, because this just doesn't make any sense. If someone comes to the shop and they say, give me fruit, and then you start, sure, here's some apples, it's a ruined transaction, because they'll potentially say, well, I wanted apples, or they'll say, well, I wanted pears. And so really it's a question of give me fruit. And so you'll be probably reciprocating that, echoing it back in the form of, What fruit would you like? What is it that you're trying to achieve right now? That's a way to preempt and handle these kinds of objections. So if someone asks for a package, it goes without saying that the rebuttal there would be absolutely, but we're not even sure what you're trying to achieve here yet. So just so I'm clear, could you please tell me a bit more about your weight loss journey so far? And then you start asking those questions. And so once you begin the consultation, these are the kind of questions you want to be asking. What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then what else? And then they'll say it, and then they'll say what else? And then what else? And then what else? And always try and find one more level, another thing. So wrinkles, all right, cool. And what else? Fine lines, okay, cool. What else? When this saggy bit here and some loose skin there, great. Once you've discovered all of those things, you'll ask, why now? Of course, you don't need to ask any of these questions verbatim. You can ask, oh, interesting. How come you're interested in doing this now? Is there some special occasion that's coming up? You want to give yourself a nice Christmas gift, right? Okay, cool. And just so I'm clear, how long has this been an issue? How long have you been struggling with this? Oh, I see. Got it. 2 years since you've had your first kid. Gotcha. And just out of interest, how is this, affecting you? What kind of impact does this have on your day-to-day activities? You don't need to make it as extreme as your life. And then they'll tell you, okay, cool. And what is it stopping you from doing? Or how is this, when it comes to dressing up to fit in your clothes, how is that stopping you there as well? And then just keep them like that. Keep asking them. Another very good question here to ask is, what is not good? What is the problem right now? Or at least what's not working as well as it should be or as well as it could be? That is a fantastic question to open up a very open sort of conversation where they can fill in that gap with so many things that will surprise you and amaze you at the same time. Bear in mind this whole time to not coach or to be too technical. So don't go into the entire technology behind ultrasonic cavitation, the entire mechanism of how Botox and neurotoxins work. Deflect lightly if you get questions about how does it work, and just stay on track. If anyone asks how does it work, just give them something, just a little bit to keep them happy. Yeah, so the way it works is kind of like when you have a baby and they do that thing with the gel on your belly. Doesn't hurt at all, non-invasive, pain-free. Okay, so just so I'm clear, what is it that you're trying to achieve right now? Is it just the abdomen? Is it the thighs as well, the back, right? And you get it back on track and you control that interaction. Confident delivery here is key. You are the expert here. You are the leader and you're leading this conversation, not by being dominating, not at all. It's just you're being a consultant to them, okay? Alrighty. And so you continue by overviewing their past attempts to solve the problem. And this is very important because this is going to give you the ammo to position your treatments and your solutions differently from this so that I don't think, oh, it's more of the same stuff that I've already tried. That is crucial because that ruins sales. And so the questions here are, what have you tried in the past? What stopped you from achieving your goal yet? Have you tried this particular treatment before? If yes, how did it go? If not, what else have you tried? What worked? What hasn't? What else? These kinds of questions. Keep asking them to understand everything they've tried before. Get all the problems that they want to fix out in the open. Super important because this will give you room to cross-sell and to upsell. And then get the implications, the deeper implications, which is what we mean when we say dig deeper. Find the second and third degree ramifications. On surface level, people want to lose weight, for example. But on the second level, it's because of confidence. And then the third one is because of their relationships. It's because of acceptance, psychological needs, Maslow's pyramid of needs. People don't just need food and shelter. They have psychological needs that need to be met. Relationships with spouse, with self, with peers. There's so many levels to that. The more you can dig in this, the deeper you can go, the better you're going to have created a so-called gap between the pain that they're experiencing right now and the dream desire outcome that they want to get to. And that is the gap in which, you guess it, you basically make the sale. And so ultimately, the whole point of this is to get them to agree that they're not looking just for a quick fix, just a quick batch fix job, just a superficial approach, but that they're committed for the long term. And that is ultimately why the upsell is going to make sense. And so it's so important to not skip this discovery, even if you've already heard all of their responses before. You've consulted tens, hundreds of patients. You already know all of the things they're going to say to you. That's not the point. You have to do this discovery anyway, not for you, but for them, because they need to hear themselves say all these things. That's when they get present to the trials and errors and the frustration and the upset that it's caused to them in the past. And that is ultimately what springs people and motivates them to take action. Without without that, they just procrastinated and don't do it. Okay, cool. And so with that being said, you move on to the transition point, which is the point where most average salespeople will barge right in with their solution as soon as they get to the pain. They'll say, okay, great. Well, you need a forced session. Here it is. Let's go. Do not do this, because this destroys trust. The trust that you built, it raises resistance, and it groups you in with all the other sales-hungry salespeople, ultimately killing the sale. So what you do instead is you draw out their objections, questions, and aspects that you may have omitted. And so that goes a bit like this. All right, great. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here, and I'm super clear about everything that you are going to through right now, unless there is something that you feel we may have missed that we should be talking about. And then you address those lightly. Do not pitch, do not get too technical, do not deviate. Just reiterate the important selling points: non-invasive, pain-free, cheaper than the alternative, affordable, no downtime, all that stuff. Just make sure that you have all of their objections preempted here, and then ask for permission to pitch. Basically, this is what's making it their idea to buy, not to be sold to. Okay, and that goes a bit like this. So now that I understand where you are currently and you've told me what you're looking to achieve, where do you want to go from here? I can make a recommendation as to how I believe you can achieve that exact thing, but you tell me where you want to go from here. And then I'll say, yeah, sure, let's go, tell me. And then you say, okay, great. So let me preface by saying that every treatment we do here is customized to you and to your needs exclusively. And then you recap. And then you say, now that you've told me that you're dealing with X and you've been dealing with Y for some time, you've been dealing with weight loss, with excess weight, and you've been dealing with this for 2 years, and you've tried diet and you've tried exercise, and lack of time is the obstacle that's been in your way, stopping you from getting to your dream body. Does that sound pretty accurate, or did I miss anything at all? And then they'll say, yeah, that's pretty much accurate. They'll agree it. And then basically this allows you to move into explaining how the introductory fits in with the rest of this. And so that goes a bit like, now the new patient special, which you are here for, is what helps clients typically see, a reduction of 1 inch, which is awesome. But it sounds like what you're looking for here is more like long-term permanent weight loss that's done and it's yours forever, right? And then they say, yeah. And so that's where you get them excited. Okay, great. So the good news is that based on everything I've heard, we can definitely help. And I think I may have a better idea here. I may make it feel like it's in a kind of like an afterthought, right? In fact, excess weight is one of the most common things we treat here, just like we have for. And then just give an example of a person just like them, some previous patient of yours who's just come in recently. And we do it without the non-invasive. We do it without invasive surgery, a lot of downtime, pain, expensive procedures. Again, pitch the values, and then show case studies, show a whole wall of testimonials of before and after, and then see if, does this make sense? Does it sound good? Okay, great. So here's the mindset. In order for this to work, understand, and don't get imposter syndrome on this. Understand that this is something that you couldn't possibly have known beforehand, right? The fact that they're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 additional sessions is something that you couldn't possibly know beforehand, realistically speaking, because you don't know who you're dealing with on the other side of the phone. These people could come in having another, 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds extra, a bit of excess fat around their love handles, or they could come in and be 20, 30 pounds out, right? So whatever there is, people come in all shapes and sizes. Not all problems are created equal, and you can only offer an intro starting point to start a conversation. So do not feel guilty or like you're tricking them, because that is not the case. You are consulting them, and based on that, you're giving them a recommendation. If you went to a car shop with your car to get an oil change, they wouldn't be able to know if your engine was shot and if you needed to get some other parts replaced until they actually saw the car. And if they did, and once they did, and they came to you and told you you need these other things as well, since it's your goal and your idea to have a car that's roadworthy, wouldn't you like us to get these things fixed? You wouldn't feel bad about that, would you? Okay. And so ultimately, the point of this is to change their paradigm from them coming to just get one treatment to them solving the problem entirely. It's no longer about what they want, it's about what they need. So again, the saying goes, show them what they want, sell them what they need. They think they're going to get this one treatment and everything is going to be wonderful. That's where you are there to educate them consult them, and basically sell them what they ultimately need. And be careful not to downplay the intro service, right? Don't say, oh yeah, the introductory treatment is only giving you 1 inch is nothing. You need more than that. Oh yeah, you're just going to get rid of some wrinkles and finalize. Yeah, it's nothing. Don't do that, because then they'll question why get that introductory treatment in the first place. The first treatment is valuable and powerful in its own right. And so do not downplay it. Make sure you show and explain to them how that fits in with the rest of the package, okay? Now we are at the pitch part. Walk them through your educational presentation. You have to have a presentation where you show the case studies, the before and after, just a light explanation of the process. Show them the components of your treatment, combination treatment, and position them as the solution to everything that they tried before and did not work. Explain every concern away. That basically means you overview their past calls, their past attempts, and then you basically explain why that didn't work. So for example, okay, you told me you tried dieting and you tried exercise. Now the problem with that is that when life gets in the way, and it inevitably does, you go in the office a bit more, you put a few more hours in, you stop exercising, you fall off the bandwagon, maybe you start eating a bit more junk, boom, all the fat is back. Well, not with this, because this is permanent weight loss. The fat cells, the fat membranes, get destroyed, and so the cell gets eliminated, not just shrunk. When it's shrunk, it can grow back. With this, it's gone and flushed out through a lymphatic system. Does that make sense? And that's how you explain away every single previous attempt of theirs. And once you're done with that, you ask them any other questions, or even better, what questions do you have, so that they can answer their questions, so that they understand that it's okay to have questions. And then you say, on a 1 to 10, do you have any questions about this? Do you feel like this is exactly what you're looking for? On a scale of 1 to 10, is this a hell yeah, or is it like a 6, 7? And if it's anything other than a 10, you have to find out why. You can say, if it's an 8, interesting. What can we do to make it a 10? And that's where you're going to get some more objections. Address those objections and answer to them before you go to the pitch. Because once you pitch, everything else becomes a sell. So you do not want to have surprise objections. So things like, I need to speak to my partner, for example. If that comes up, it's best that it comes now, because you can handle it, and we'll make a separate video on that, but not after you drop the price. Okay. Once there's no more questions or objections, that's when you can finally move to the pitch, the treatment plan. And you have to be careful to give reasons to take action now, in the form of one-time offers and limited offers. And so we like to offer an A/B close with a package A and a package B. Package A is the premium offer, the one that's more expensive. And oftentimes that only serves as an anchor, because it's basically the one where they look at and they think, all right, well, that's how much it costs. Now package B seems way more attractive instead. And that's ultimately the one that you're optimizing for, the one that you want them to choose, right? That's not to say that some people won't go for A, but the bulk majority will go for B, okay? And if they go for neither, then you have these other options. To pay, you split it into 2 payments, one now, one when they come back, or you do it with finance, a finance provider, split it into as many, 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years. And then finally, if none of that, then you do a follow-up consultation as a last resort with a deposit that they pay there and then. Cool. So that's how you wrap up the pitch. In conclusion, just to look at this whole thing as an overview, understand that this is a smooth consultative approach, which is very heavily discovery focused, gap creation, finding out the pain, the dream, the gap between the two of them. And the point of that is that clients almost sell themselves. Think about it along the lines of, since this is what you told me you want, and since this is your goal, then would you like to explore this, right? Which is ultimately your solution. And also don't forget to temp check and to do tie downs across the entire process. Always make sure that they're with you. Are you with me? Does this make sense? Is this something that you want? Okay, great. Okay, great. And so forth. And so if you want to go into a bit more detail with this, then stick around, because we're going to make more videos on the 7 reasons why people don't buy, as well as other tips and tricks on how to sell and how to improve your sales upsell percentage. And also bear in mind that when it comes to appointments, we actually solve that problem for our Medspa clients. So if you want us to solve that problem for you as well, to get you anywhere between 15 and 30 qualified appointments every single month, then book a call with us. We are going to solve that problem for you. And then we're going to be working with you, coaching you on the sales process, so that you can get at least a 3x return on your ad spend. And so I hope this has been informative. If you have any questions, drop us a line. And if you want to book a meeting with us, then check if your market is available right now. Check the link in the description. And we look forward to seeing you around. Bye-bye. Thanks.